Past life for Ashley. All right. We're getting a life where you had to overcome a lot of fears. So it's this huge explorer pioneer energy coming through strongly. Also, this is where you're going from one land to another. It's like you're leaving the farmland, going to something else. This is very much a nomadic type of thing. The way you went, you left a situation that feels like there was an abusive relationship, and I don't know if this was on the parental or if the whole society and structure was difficult for you. There's something that was extremely difficult. It's why you became nomadic and left. You escaped that situation and you went, but you had a lot of phobias with you. You're coming in as female in this life, in this past life here. And something about health. There's something that is totally got you freaked out, health-wise. It feels like you saw death early on. Too much death early on. Now that's a really weird thing to get coming in, but that's what I'm getting. What's going on with this? It feels like a whole village was kind of burned down. You lost a lot. You lost a great love during this whole village was burned down. Everything was under attack. When is this coming through? This is it feels like when the Romans met the pagans and the pagans didn't do so well, and it feels like you were of the pagan people or of the you were of like the tribal pagan-y type people, and it feels like the Roman type element came in, took over your town, took over your land, burned everything down. What the fuck? There was somebody that wanted to be the new landowner, new lord, or new person that had the fealty. They wanted to make that so, wanted to have people that once they burn down everything, okay, now you can sign up, you can work for me, come on my side of this, whatever this war is, and then everything's going to be good, and you're like, no, fuck you, Buster. You go. It feels like a brother stayed, and the rest of your family and your big love, gone. You go and you leave that country because you want something different. You leave that area because you want something different. You're afraid of different things. You go towards something that's a much colder place to be, and you go into a little bit of isolation. You go to isolation because if you figure if they're going to come after you, you don't want to be found. Now, this is down the track. This feels very much down the track. This was almost like 20 years later. Down the track. This Emperor energy. This is where Brother has coming in stronger there. What's up with Brother? Brother's starting to look for the Lady of the Flames. He's looking for you. He's looking for you for when this time came. He kind of seeks you out. Tries to maybe track you down. Not so much hunt you down, but track you down. Figure out what's going on. He's looking for you. He understands the truth of it. Understands why you left. Understands that you were at more peril than he was, just sheerly because of gender. Now you've gone into this hiding zone where you've been hermiting out for a bit. You got married. You had kids. You went to this winterland. You went to someplace colder in climate. Strange. Yeah. You went to someplace totally colder. It feels like you went about 180, 200 miles away. He shows up again. Now here's this, in the springtime, he shows up again. He sees you. It's almost like you would have gone from like Ireland to maybe some of the Scandinavian zones. You're going towards some place where instead of green and dealing with all this nonsense, you're going more towards where there's more snow, colder weather, and you're liking it much better there. And this is where there's celebration. I think that you like the northern lights is what you're seeing. This is really weird one. I don't always get that kind of a detail, but that's what I'm getting. That's the detail. Now you have a young kid, you have a young girl. What's up with your daughter at this point? It's been a while. This is your daughter's becoming a young lady, and this would be like 15 or 16. You've taught her all these things about herbs, knowledge about herbs, and she's wanting to go out in the world on her own. She wants to relocate and go more towards where the rivers are. Your brother has found you. Are you going to let her travel with your brother and be safe? Your brother would look after her. Your parents, I have no idea. I don't think they survived when your village got burned down, but your brother's showing up in a good way for you later on in life. I think he takes your daughter back to where you would consider your homeland. Now let's see what happens when we go there. Let's go in there. Does this serve? He's sneaking her in incognito. He takes her in incognito. He takes her in as if she is his daughter, so people don't give any static or crap, so people are not going to track you down or look for you. For some reason, you want your anonymity in a big, huge way, so he's sneaking her in incognito here. And this is like a reclaiming of something. I don't think that he wants her to be recognized, although she looks enough like you that people might. But they might just say family resemblance. What is this so much that's so much carried on his mind, so much very, very heavy on his mind? Wanting new action, getting into a new position socially. Why is this? What is the daughter's gift that you want celebrated, that he's seeing that? I think she has a gift of knowledge. I think she has a gift of like understanding earth, understanding nature really, really well. Really well. I think that you got her to a different zone so she could understand different things that happen, different natural cycles and seasons. But you don't want her pursued in a bad way. Now, why would she have been pursued in a bad way? I think she just had restless feet. I think she didn't want to settle down just yet. I think there were people in the I'm calling it the northern country. I don't know if it's northern or not. I think there were people in the winter country that you went to that wanted to pursue her. She didn't want to settle down. She goes to the riverlands a little bit more, so she doesn't have to settle down quite so soon. She needs to have a little bit of a life of her own before she gets married or wed or set up to be so. Promised is what I'm getting. Before she gets promised to someone else. I think you got her out of Dodge so she could have her options open. I think that's what that was all about. Now she's seeing somebody down in these river countries that are very interesting for her. It's a requirement that you have to go back towards where this is. She wants you to meet this person from the river country, and it's like you didn't expect that when you sent her away that she would be gone forever, but she's going to be gone, and she's not going to want to come back and live where it's cold. And you and your person are going to have to deal with this. You and your husband are going to have to deal with this. I don't think you much care for this outcome, but it is what it is. And it's not that there's huge estrangement. It's just that there's a different path for her. What about your other kids? You have a lot of kids. One's a complete worrier. One's like really, really worry. Lots of work, worry. Doesn't relate well, doesn't necessarily do well in the typical thing. Likes to do things up close. Really struggles in the communication department. It's why part of the reason you keep to yourself a little bit in the winter country and you don't always go towards the river. You go towards this one celebration. It's a time of celebration. It's time to go. There is a little bit of balance to be struck. When you go back to this place of, I'm calling it the river country. I don't know what else to call it. There's heartache there for you. You don't want to stay there for too long. You go for the celebration, but you know you're not going to interact with this one particular daughter as much. Now you have to go back to the winter country and interact with this other child that does in fact need you there, but your heartache's been too big, where they burned your town down and all that. That's not going to be anything great for you to be around. Yeah, it's just too many bad memories. You have to move onward. You have to move forward like the Fool. Why is the Fool coming up? Tell me about this Fool. This is referencing that other child. People think that your other child is stupid, and they're not. They're just having a trouble communicating. It might be somebody that is modern day. We might say this person's a little bit neurodivergent, or they have their own challenges, but you have big love for this child, and you understand how to communicate with this child and deal with this child. They're difficult. You go back to where it is and you balance the scales out. For whatever reason, that's what you're balancing. There's something about the communication and the truth that this person has. They worry. They're like anxiety, the phobias that you have because of health, you somehow have gotten transferred a little bit through there. And this is what you get to overcome with this child. You and this particular child are going through this overcoming fears together in this particular past life. Now this is where the other child doesn't understand herbs and medicine, but does like gardening and growing things and bugs. I don't know why bugs, but like this one would be the one that would watch like the potato bugs or the ants or the crickets or the insects a lot. Why would there be insects in winter? It's got to be a certain time, a certain season, a certain lesson, because the winterlands don't have a ton of those insects going around. They have some, but not a ton. Lovers. This comes in. There's somebody that perfectly understands this other one. You're very much devoted to your role as a mother and seeing that your own children have their happiness when they come in. I think you married out of pragmatics. I think the love of your life that you feel was the love of your life that was lost when the village was burned down grew you up quite a bit. There was pragmatic. I think you married well enough, but it wasn't the same kind of relationship. And then when your kids got to an age, you wanted them to have happy relationships if they could pull it off. Where your daughter's concerned in the Riverlands, if it made her happy, you were fine with this. Where your other one is concerned, it feels like that they did marry down the track, and they married somebody that got them. They were just as like, there's all kinds of neurodivergent, all kinds of on the spectrum. Just because we've identified it now doesn't mean it didn't exist back then. Yeah. There is battles about this, about whether this one's going to be okay in the relationship on their own. If they couple up with this person, can they go on their own? You're a little bit uncertain. You want things to be steady. What do you guys do? This child doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like they're Down syndrome child. It feels more like somewhere on the autistic spectrum, but a little bit challenged. And it feels like this person that has met them gets that and is on the spectrum as well. This is somebody you're looking out for. You're worried about them being they'll be provided for. You're able to help provide for them, but you're worried about culture being too mean, too harsh on them, so you keep them close. You're prepared. This is like the whole of the winter people are prepared to do battle for this child of yours, even though they're a difficult child, a well-loved child, and they're prepared to do battle for both of these kids together to have their shot. Yeah, they need to have their shot, even if they are. It's like when you see people that they're just such a great match. These two young ones here are very much salt and pepper. They're a perfect match for each other. They're really, really good, and everybody's trying to help offer them the shot. The people that are in the Winterlands understand that how valuable a relationship is and how hard to come by a match like that would be. They understand. They see that this person coming in and coming across the path of your particular child that has this challenge is such a good thing, that they will defend, they will defend, they will defend. It's actually quite beautiful. It's not usual that the town would come together this way. It's more usual that in this era of time, the young couple that is challenged would be ostracized, but your community is like, no, they're ours. They protect, they keep things quiet, they keep things a quiet little life in a quiet little town, quiet little space where this is like not a problem. It's like if everybody keeps calm about this, if you know how there's grandmother apartments now, they would set up kind of like a grandmother apartment for this little couple to be, because they bring such joy around, even if they're difficult. And they work hard, they work hard, they work hard. It's like they create something that the life can be forged for these two, because it matters. It matters in the balance, in how that they're teaching a deeper lesson of love, even though there's difficulty, even though there's harsher weather, harsher environment, harsher life circumstance for these two. The forging of that is huge important. Anything else? It's this huge influence on the geography around this. Acceptance is known. It's spoke of in quiet circles. It is known. It is known. It creates change. It creates positive change, because they aren't just viewed as the village idiot. They aren't viewed that way. They are viewed as very special, very sacred people and protected people. And the whole world sees it as such. That's what's going on. The protection that's offered is offered. The way that you guys as community come and forge around them and keep them safe and structure around them is actually quite well received by others in other circles. Women talking about things like this. It's more known among the women coming back and forth, and by his folks and by you guys. It's known. And so it does get noticed and seen. It helps shift things a little bit. Anything else? This is the mother that does not quit. This is an unrelenting mother who's inspired, who knows that there's mystery, knows there's cycles and seasons, knows how to honor things and honor the wisdom of things that have been created as they are. Taking things on face value. You saw so much loss early on that everything that was gifted and blessed for you going forward, you understood as a blessing, and you did not give up on this child. And it was noticed, and it reaps huge karmic reward, not just for you, but for your entire village. It's like, because you are so persistent, because you are so close to this, things grow. It's like some cultures, they might do like a rain dance to bring in good crops or something like this. This effort that is made from your community blesses that whole area for several generations to come. It feels like it goes 4 generations deep, the blessing of just the way the support was given for these two. That's what I've got. Holy cow. Yeah. So when you get the notion to give graciously, understand that that is felt in huge ripples, bigger than what you see, because it's still extending. That's complete. Wow. Yeah, that's what I got. That's a wild one, but that's where it's at. Beautiful. Yeah. It's like an unrelenting, determined mother in a good way. Not the unrelenting micromanager. The unrelenting, fierce, loving mother that is going to do whatever she can. It's huge. It's huge.
Wow.
Yeah. That was wild. Whew. Yeah. I never know what's going to come through on those ones, guys. I just don't, but that's where it came.